In the grand tapestry of human history, there are stories that transcend time. They are not mere accounts of events, but profound lessons etched into the very fabric of our existence. These are narratives of trial and triumph, of despair and deliverance, guided by a divine hand that weaves together the most unlikely of threads into a masterpiece of wisdom and hope. They remind us that, even in our darkest moments, a plan is unfolding, a plan far greater than we can ever perceive. Our story begins in the ancient land of Canaan, within the family of a noble prophet. It centers on his most beloved son, a boy blessed with unparalleled beauty and a heart full of light. But his most remarkable gift was one that would set his destiny in motion, the ability to see the future woven into the fabric of dreams. Now imagine this cherished boy, the apple of his father's eye, suddenly cast into a nightmare. His life takes a turn so violent and so cruel, it seems impossible to endure. Can you fathom the heart-wrenching pain of betrayal, not by an enemy, but by the very brothers who shared his blood? They conspire out of jealousy, their hearts hardened, and cast him into the desolate darkness of a well, leaving him for dead. From the depths of the earth, he is pulled out only to be sold into the humiliation of slavery in a foreign land, Egypt. Stripped of his family, his freedom and his identity, he faces his trials with unwavering faith. Just when a glimmer of hope appears, he is ensnared by deceit and false accusation, leading to his ultimate test. Long, lonely years wasting away in the darkness of a prison forgotten by the world. Betrayal, slavery, and wrongful imprisonment. A life seemingly shattered beyond repair. Yet, it is from this very prison, this rock bottom of human suffering, that his ascent begins. The same gift that sparked his brother's envy, his knowledge of dreams, becomes the key to his salvation and the salvation of an entire nation. He rises from the status of a forgotten prisoner to become the most trusted advisor to the king of Egypt, a position of immense power and influence. This is a story about the corrosive power of jealousy and the healing power of forgiveness. It is a testament to the virtue of patience, or sabr, in the face of unimaginable hardship. Above all, it is the ultimate demonstration of Allah's perfect, intricate plan, proving that with every difficulty, there is relief. This is the story the Qur'an itself calls Ahsan al-Qasas, the most beautiful of all stories. This is the story of Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him. Young Yusuf tells his father Yaqub alayhi salam about the dream of 11 stars, the sun and the moon bowing to him. His father warns him not to tell his brothers. Out of jealousy, Yusuf's brothers throw him into a deep well. A caravan finds him and sells him as a slave in Egypt. Reflection: how envy can destroy families. Bought by a nobleman, grew up handsome, wise, and full of faith. Test with the nobleman's wife, Zuleika. He resists temptation, stays patient, and chooses prison over sin. In prison, Yusuf interprets dreams for inmates. His gift of dream interpretation becomes famous, teaches people about Tawheed, worshipping only Allah. In the grand palace, the pharaoh, a man who commanded the known world, was powerless against a dream that had shaken him to his core. He saw 7 healthy, fat cows devoured by 7 gaunt, skeletal ones. The vision repeated with 7 full ears of grain being swallowed by 7 withered ears. The king awoke, his spirit deeply troubled. He summoned every magician and wise man in his kingdom, but their collective knowledge was useless. None could decipher the meaning of the divine message veiled within the pharaoh's nightmare, leaving the most powerful man on earth feeling helpless and afraid. It was then that a forgotten promise sparked in the memory of the royal cupbearer. He rushed to the pharaoh, confessing his own fault in forgetting a remarkable young man. He recounted his time in prison, where a Hebrew servant named Yusuf had perfectly interpreted his dream. Hearing this, a flicker of hope ignited in the pharaoh. He commanded, "Bring him to me." Messengers hurried to the dungeon. After years in darkness, Yusuf was brought out. He prepared himself and stood before the king. With profound humility, Yusuf attributed any ability not to himself, but to God alone, stating, "God will give Pharaoh a favorable answer." Pharaoh recounted his visions. Guided by divine insight, Yusuf revealed their meaning. The 2 dreams were one message from God. The 7 good cows and 7 good ears of grain signified 7 years of incredible abundance. But they would be followed by 7 years of a devastating famine, so severe it would consume all memory of the prosperity that came before. But Yusuf's wisdom did not end there. He offered a solution, a comprehensive plan for national survival. He advised the pharaoh to appoint a discerning and wise man to oversee the collection and storage of 1/5 of the harvest during the years of plenty. This grain would be the nation's salvation, saving Egypt from ruin. The pharaoh and his court were astounded. The clarity of the interpretation and the brilliance of the plan were undeniable. The king looked at Yusuf and declared, "Can we find such a one as this, a man in whom is the Spirit of God?" Turning to Yusuf he said, "Since God has shown you all this, there is none so discerning and wise as you. You shall be over my house." With that, Pharaoh took his signet ring and put it on Yusuf's finger, a symbol of ultimate authority. He clothed him in fine linen and placed a gold chain around his neck. From a prisoner, Yusuf was elevated to vizier of Egypt, second in command of the most powerful empire on earth. During the famine, Yusuf's brothers come to Egypt to buy food. Yusuf recognizes them, but they don't recognize him. Eventually reveals himself, forgives them, and brings his family to Egypt. His dream from childhood comes true. The story of Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him, is described by Allah in the Qur'an as Ahsan al-Qasas, the most beautiful of stories. It is not merely a historical account but a profound and timeless lesson for all of humanity, a detailed blueprint for navigating the complexities of life with unwavering faith. As we reflect on his incredible journey, from the darkness of a well to the highest office in Egypt, we uncover a treasure trove of wisdom that speaks directly to our own struggles and triumphs. The core of his narrative offers us 3 transformative lessons that, when embraced, can illuminate our path. First is the profound lesson of sabr, or patience in the face of hardship. This was not a passive waiting, but an active, resilient faith. Imagine the terror of a young boy, betrayed by his own brothers and cast into a desolate well. Yet, he held on to his faith. Imagine the years spent in unjust imprisonment, his youth slipping away behind stone walls for a crime he did not commit. In that darkness, Yusuf's patience was his light. He understood that every trial was a test from Allah, a means of purification and elevation. His story teaches us that true patience is trusting in Allah's timing, persevering through adversity without complaint, and holding firm to the belief that with every hardship, Allah promises ease. It is the quiet strength that turns a prison into a place of worship and a well of despair into a vessel of hope. Second, we learn the meaning of tawakkul, an absolute trust in Allah's divine plan. From an outside perspective, Yusuf's life seemed to be a series of catastrophic events. Betrayal led to slavery, integrity led to false accusation, innocence led to a prison sentence, yet what appeared to be a downward spiral was in reality a carefully orchestrated ascent. Each perceived disaster was a necessary step in Allah's perfect plan. The well connected him to the caravan. The caravan brought him to the house of Al-Aziz, where he would learn the ways of a new land. The prison introduced him to the king's servant, the very person who would later mention him to the king, leading to his freedom and eventual authority over the land. His journey is a powerful reminder that we see only a fraction of the grand tapestry Allah is weaving. When our lives take unexpected turns, we must trust that the all-wise, Al-Hakim, is guiding us towards a destination far greater than we could ever envision for ourselves. Finally, and perhaps most powerfully, is the lesson of forgiveness over revenge. After decades of suffering, the moment of truth arrived. Yusuf, now a powerful ruler, stood before the very brothers who had left him for dead. He held all the power to exact retribution. He could have subjected them to the same pain and fear he had endured. But the boy who was a victim of jealousy had grown into a man of immense spiritual stature. Instead of vengeance, he chose ihsan, grace and excellence. He looked at his humbled brothers and declared, "No blame will there be upon you today. May Allah forgive you, and He is the most merciful of the merciful." In this singular act of clemency, he not only liberated his brothers from their guilt, but also freed himself from the burden of resentment, healing his family, and completing the cycle of his trials with the ultimate moral victory. The story of Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him, teaches us that patience, trust, and forgiveness are the pillars that can hold us up through any storm. No matter how dark the well, how long the imprisonment, or how deep the betrayal, Allah's plan is always at work, turning our greatest trials into our greatest triumphs. His ultimate reunion with his beloved father, Yaqub, was the culmination of this divine promise, a testament that faith, held firmly, will always lead to a joyous conclusion. The beauty of this story is that its lessons are eternal. If you found inspiration in the life of Prophet Yusuf, and wish to explore more stories that illuminate the path of faith and offer guidance for our modern lives.